Little Luther Vandross to kick off this episode of Studio 313. We're back for the 15th time, 15 episodes. We've come a long way, Dylan. We really, really have.
Yeah, we're making it work.
We're alive and kicking. We're not on a consistent basis, but we're better than the last few semesters. I mean, we went months without doing anything for a lot of times.
We took a little bit of a hiatus, a little vacation, if you would. But
we've taken plenty, but we're back at it. We're back in action. I'm Deuce, as always, known as Deuce on the airways, but my name is Daniel, joined by my lovely co-host Dylan Sash. Thank you for tuning in for this episode of Studio 313. As always, we're coming at you from Anderson Hall, the home to Nebraska's College of Journalism and Mass Communications, right in the middle of Nebraska's city campus. It's affectionately known as the Coach AMC. That's the first time I've screwed up the intro.
I was just going to say something. I mean, normally you always get it perfect.
I'm like money on the intros.
Money on it, but that's all right.
We're in a flurry here. I've been going, it's been like this all day.
We're trying to make up time. I was a little late. That one's on me. I'll take the blame.
He's as long as you accept responsibility, that's what's important.
That one's on me, guys.
But we don't got a lot of time to reflect on the mistakes we've made today. Or any day, really, because we got a couple Lincoln stars in the building. Previous episodes, we had Rombach on over Zoom for the first episode, which was that was
an interesting one.
That was a hell of an interview. Then we had Dash and Caden in. That was like what, month and a half ago?
Something like that.
Something like that. Dash
right
and
after the season started.
Yeah, right. Had them provide a little bit of insight to their careers in the USHL, their overall backstory, and we got a couple more fellas in to have a little talk for tonight. We got Michael Sandruck and Gio. I'm not even going to attempt to say your last name because
I think that's probably a good idea.
I know it's a complicated one, but fellas, we'll start with Michael. Please introduce yourselves. Let the people know who you are.
Michael Sandruck, obviously, like you said, played for the Lincoln Stars. I'm number 23, and I'm a forward.
Number 23, forward from New York.
Yeah, upstate New York, though, not the city, so let's not get confused there.
You're not a city guy.
No.
You really don't seem like a city guy.
No, you have to live a different life to be down there.
Yeah, it's all go. It's hectic. It's like a hamster in a rat race. Even over my internship in the summer, I kind of felt like just going back and forth. And that was in Minneapolis, which I'm sure is that's got to be tame compared to the crazy stuff you see in New York. I mean, just earlier today, that one healthcare executive got shot in the back. I don't know if
I have no idea what you're talking about, but sure. I'll trust you, Daniel.
United Healthcare, the CEO got popped in the back today. He was just like walking down, going to an investor meeting, and he got shot. The gunman's still at large, so there's that. But anyways, Michael Sandruck, upstate New York, not the big city. And sitting directly across from him, we have Gio. Gio, please tell the people a little bit about yourself, as much as you want.
Will you pronounce your last name for us as well?
Yeah, it's DiGiulian.
DiGiulian, okay. Yeah. Not as complicated.
Not as complicated
No,
as
it's not that bad.
Gio DiGiulian.
The way it looks, it's kind of confusing.
Right, it's intimidating.
Yeah, but I'm from South Burlington, Vermont. I'm a forward, and I'm number 17 on the Stars.
So how far are you from Caden? Because he's also Caden's a Vermont guy.
Yeah, it's like 2.5 hours. He's down south.
It's like 2.5.
I'm like an hour from the border. So.
An hour from the border. Yeah. Okay, cool. It's always, I was just telling him, it's always the Northeast or like Minnesota or maybe Michigan that these hockey guys come from. It's all they do up there. Hockey.
I would hope so.
Hockey and lacrosse, which Dylan, the club, the
resident lacrosse guy,
the club lacrosse president.
Something like that.
Club lacrosse president and superstar. What position do you play?
Right bench.
Right. You're a big right bench guy.
As of right now, I'm currently holding down the bench for the team. Injured up, put me on the IR list. Soon to be cleared. I've got 19 days. So
I mean, hey,
looking forward to that one.
On our intramural flag football team, I'm a bench warmer. Nothing wrong with keeping the bench warm.
Every now and then, star players got to come off.
Every once in a while, they got to get off the field. I came on that field one time and had that interception. But this is not about flag football. This is about little Lincoln Stars, little hockey action. So what kind of made you guys get into hockey from a young age? It's a generic one, but I got to understand. I know usually it's just like you find the love of the game at a young age. You try it, and you stick with it, find out you're good at it, and here you are in Lincoln, Nebraska, of all places. But what initially got you guys into it, and were you considering other sports, like lacrosse or any others?
Yeah, so before we jumped on here, we were talking a little about lacrosse, and being from upstate New York, probably lacrosse is a bigger powerhouse than hockey is.
Sure.
Yeah.
And those were kind of the two sports I picked. I played lacrosse before I played hockey, and it's kind of, you go from lacrosse season and you kind of need a sport in the winter.
Right.
And in a way, lacrosse and hockey, besides the skates and obviously the equipment, it's kind of the same idea
It's pretty similar.
in that term. And so I picked up hockey. My mom's friend gave us equipment. I started skating, hated it at the start, and then kind of eventually kind of got into it. And then when you're younger, obviously you can play 2 sports. You can.
Sure.
It's not too serious. You know, you have those 6 a.m. practices, whatever.
Right.
And I was playing lacrosse, and I was loving lacrosse, and then all my buddies from my hometown are playing lacrosse, but then I'm realizing hockey's more my jam, and I'm starting to love it a little bit more. I'm obviously still loving both, but
Right.
you got it. Once you get to the teenage ages, you kind of have to pick one
gotta
sport. If you
specialize.
want to go somewhere, you kind of have to dial into one. And for me, that was more, all right, let's sit down. And then I'm like, which one do I like more? And I do still, obviously, since I'm here in Lincoln, hockey obviously
Right.
made it through. And
Huge
I
hockey.
do still love going home, though, and throwing the ball with my
course.
friends back home. And that's still one of my good hobbies, if you want to call that.
And about what age did you really specialize in hockey where you said, it's time to lock in? Was it about high school age, like 14, 15?
Yeah, so when I was 14, I moved away to prep school. It was only 25 minutes down the road, but I lived there.
Sure.
So my whole high school, I was away from home. So until up to there, I played lacrosse. So about 13, I quit lacrosse in that sense.
Prep school, and then you kind of joined a club team
And
like a
then-
lot of guys do.
Yeah, well, our prep school was kind of like once Gio, he'll tell you about his prep school. Ours is more of
sure.
his is more traditional. Ours is more, if you want to call it like the new age. So we just play hockey, and
Okay.
we played hockey.
The only sport you had at your school was hockey, or
It was a actual preps, or it was actually a high school, but just the hockey kids lived there.
Okay.
So like the only travel team was hockey.
gotcha.
Right.
So we didn't have to worry about the other sports, and like our main sport for everyone was hockey.
Right.
Like if you're playing hockey, you're playing hockey. But we played the full travel season. So from 14 to 18, we were all there, and we were all just hockey in school, obviously, but whatever.
So you're living there, just playing school, just playing hockey, but you said Gio's got kind of a little bit slightly different spin on that prep school experience. Gio, what was yours like?
Yeah, so I went when I was 15, sophomore year, and the school you had to play 3 sports or activities. So I played
Really?
baseball in the spring and then intramural squash in the fall. Cause
Intramural squash is crazy.
Hell yeah.
yeah, it was kind of a crazy take, but it was fun. Like me and all the kids did it on our team pretty much. So, but in the fall we played split season. So we
Okay.
play for like a club team, a AAA team, and then when school season starts, you stop that, and then after school season, you go to like nationals, regionals, and all that stuff with the split season team. So I played for a team called the Junior Bulldogs. So
The Junior Bulldogs.
yeah,
And the USHL recruitment process, I mean, it's a little bit different for everyone how guys get on board with the league, I'm sure. But how did you guys find out about it, and how do you end up in Lincoln, Nebraska? I'm sure 5 years ago you didn't picture yourselves here.
Yeah, Lincoln, Nebraska is not usually the spot where you're like, yeah, big hockey guys, we're going to Lincoln, Nebraska.
It's not a hockey hotbed, but now we got the best team in the USHL, top dogs right now. So how'd you
say.
guys end up here in the first place?
So obviously, what we just talked about, the prep school, that obviously is a big, gives you a lot of looks and eyes.
Right.
So we're both, if you didn't know, we're both committed to Cornell. So
I didn't realize
Sweet.
both of you were.
yeah. So I don't know if hockey got us there at school, but
I could.
Nah, it's cool.
Big academic
Yeah.
guys. We can see it here. We're big academic guys.
100%.
We put the student in student athletes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there you go.
exactly. But so that helped me get committed to Cornell's. But before that was when I was 16, and then I still had 2 years, and it was more just they do a great job. It's Bishop Kearney is the prep school name, and they do a great job at development for the players and getting looks towards their players. And then
Right.
last year, I got halfway through, I got called up to Rochester Amherst in the North American Hockey League, and I think from that was a big gave me a lot of opportunity in the USHL draft this summer, and then I was lucky enough to get drafted in the 5th round from this draft, and then from camp made the team from camp. So
Yeah, for sure. Was it kind of the same for you, just getting recognition through your, junior teams,
Yeah.
just scouts looking at you, and then you just find your way in?
yeah, I got drafted here my junior year from prep school, and then they never dropped me. So I came to camp junior year and then this past year and ended up making the team this year. So pretty much the same.
Hell yeah.
Because you boys both, are you 18? Both 18?
I'm 18.
I'm 19.
18, 19. Gotcha.
Yeah.
18, 19. So you'll probably, I know that guys usually, well, I shouldn't say usually because everyone's path is just a lot different, but I feel that guys are usually here for around like 2 years, maybe 3 years before they bounce. You boys think I know it's a long way out. A lot can happen. Really anything can happen. But do you guys see yourselves being back in Lincoln next season or do you think plans might change?
As of right now, coming back, which I can't complain. Love the coach, love the team. So great spot to be.
Yeah.
It helps when you're winning.
Yeah.
Helps when you're the top team in the league.
Yeah.
For sure. But what about you, Gio?
I'm not sure yet. We'll see how the rest of the year goes, but
I mean,
gotta talk to him. So.
Yeah.
Win the Natty, Gio's coming back.
Yeah, practically.
That's how it's gonna go.
Well, after securing a Clark Cup championship and having the parade through downtown.
Yeah, right. I feel like we
I
have
want a
to,
parade.
right?
Yeah.
I want a big old honking parade. I just want playoff hockey back at the ice.
Oh, yeah.
I just want playoff hockey so bad.
Yeah.
The Sioux City games last year, it was rough. Didn't end the way the guys wanted it to, but God, it's so electric in that building when playoff hockey comes to town. Now, Sandruck, I want to get straight into something because Dash and Caden, they said that you are just. Said that you're one of the most. They said that you are one of the most interesting fellas on the team. They said I just want you to elaborate on how you've got like this sort of larger than life personality, I feel, and I've seen you get into a lot of scraps. You're a brawler. I would wonder if you got the most fights out of anyone on the team. I think you do, just based on what I've seen at home and on the road.
Yeah, as of right now, yeah. Or we only have 3. Well, technically I have 3, but one was not really a real fight.
Not a
but
true fight.
They counted it as a fight, which is kind of sucks. But right now I have 2 and Nick Young has 1. So
2 and Nick Young's got 1. He's
so
the
we got to get some more guys to fight. But
would you say you're the enforcer on the team, or are you just willing to scrap? Is that what it comes down to?
I think it's more. I kind of. Not the enforcer. I more just kind of want to fight. Like it's kind of fun. Like in real life, you can't just beat someone up, but in hockey,
it's fair.
In hockey, you can. So
just if a guy just looks at you the wrong way, then you can drop the mitts.
Yeah, it's kind of fun too. Like some guy. Go back to the Waterloo game. The guy was just he thought he was just cooler than me. So
right, and you got to show him.
Obviously, showing him up.
Yeah.
No one's cooler than the Michelson.
Yeah, so I had to show him.
Of course you do.
And good thing it ended my way because that would have been bad if it didn't.
Yeah.
But
would have been rough, but it did.
Yeah.
You pile drove him into the ground. It was over after that. And God, this is why I love Stars games so much. After that guy got beaten, he was getting escorted to his locker room because some of the best stuff just happens, and you guys can't even see it because you're playing in the game.
Yeah.
But the Waterloo guy's getting escorted back to the locker room, and some fan from up in the stands, he goes, "Man, you got beaten!" And he yells out his number, like I don't know, but it's like, "You got beat!" And the Waterloo guy, he hears him, looks at him, and he starts like he's gonna go after him, walk up the stairs,
jumping in the stands for him.
Yeah, and then there's one of the security guys is like, "Come on, get back in, get in the locker room." And then another security guard's looking up at the fan and is like, "You can't do that! Don't be yelling!" And the guy's like, "I'm just having fun. It's just a joke. Can't take a joke." But the fights are some of the best parts of the game. But last time, we talked about a lot of the stories that you guys have on the road, and Dash and Caden said that you would have plenty of them. Gio, I'm sure you do too, from plenty of your experience. So we can start with Sandra. If you guys got anything, because last time Dash enlightened us about road trips gone horribly wrong, or just some rough practices, games that just didn't quite go your way, which led to interesting practices. So what do you got, if anything? If there's anything that jumps out at you.
Luckily, the road trips haven't been too bad this year.
Right.
It's good.
No bus breaks down, nothing like that. But there's definitely been some interesting things that I'm not sure I can share on the podcast here.
Absolutely.
So we can talk after. But,
Come on.
I mean, if this is going to YouTube, so we better hold back. But
It's not going on YouTube.
It's going on platforms, so we'll keep the public image of this team pristine. We got families coming to the games. We got kids coming. So you know what? I totally respect that. We'll defer. We'll put some of those stories to the side because I would not.
Yeah.
I've seen Rocky when you boys are winning, and he already looks.
Yeah.
He looks like his looks when he just like looks at my way when I'm like, because I'm the camera guy. When I'm holding up the camera, letting you guys walk through, getting the shot, and he won't even glance at me, and I'll feel like I'll feel his eyes glued to the back of my head. Even though he's not looking, and I feel that way. So I can't imagine how he'd be if stuff gets out.
Which is kind of cool for having him be your coach because, like we talked about, he doesn't let anyone mess with him, and he won't let anyone mess with any of the boys on the team. So
Absolutely.
in that sense, it's kind of cool. If you have him on your side, you're gonna beat everyone.
He won't let anyone mess with you, and that's what exactly do you mean by that? Like, have you had coaches attack like you or Gio or any one of you guys? Have coaches ever come after you? Other players cheap shotting and Rocky?
It's more like, I think from my past, like some coaches that I've had won't stand up for as much. But if one guy gets ran from behind, he'll let one of our guys. Yeah, you can go
after him.
Take care of him.
Yeah, let him know.
Right.
When some coaches don't kind of let that go, which I think obviously everyone wants to win, but if someone gets, if you got to take care of something, that's also part of the hockey.
Right.
You got to make sure everyone knows not to mess with the Lincoln Stars in that term.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
I think that's a huge part in that sense.
Gio, what about you, man? When he says like coach standing up for his players, like is there any instance where he's really had your back, or is it really just more of a general thing with the team where in practices he's letting you guys know that he's standing up for you?
Yeah, it's more like a general thing. He lets us know every day that he has our back, and it's great to have him in your corner. So
absolutely,
and he'll give it back to some players if they give it to him. So
right.
It's good to have on your bench, and it's good to have him sticking up for you.
One question. Another one that I have, because Dylan, hockey and lacrosse, I feel they don't necessarily. I mean, they're not identical sports.
Not identical,
but it's the same idea.
Very similar.
And they
very
share.
similar.
And there's a lot of when I've been at the games, I've heard some like interesting slang. Just when I'm like behind the bench, like just what things are called. My favorite piece of lingo that I've learned is calling a goalie a sieve. That's got to be the funniest thing I've ever heard. Because at one of the first games that I was at with a lot of guys in my fraternity, the opposing goalie was just let like 2 or 3 up maybe in the first period.
But he Swiss cheese.
And a bunch of people in the arena were just yelling at him, calling him a sieve. We found out it was the goalie's birthday, so we started singing happy birthday.
That's even better.
That's brutal. And then he let up 5 goals in total. The game went to a shootout and he lost it, and we were just singing him happy birthday the entire game. I kind of felt bad for him, but it was pretty funny. But you gotta like what slang terms do you use most often? Because I know like I get biscuit for the puck. But some of these apply to any sport, like barn burner, a high-scoring game. That I've heard that used in football, basketball. You guys got to enlighten me because I got to know what the hell Joel is saying when I'm listening to an away game.
Yeah.
When I'm talking hockey in general. You boys got to help a guy out.
Can we go back to the goalie for a second? I got a story from last year. So going back to the playoffs.
Wonderful.
So I played in Rochester and we made the playoffs, and the North American does a little weird, different, and in the East, the top seed for the first round will have all 3 games at home.
Oh, okay, sure.
And it's only a 3-game series just to kind of get the bad teams out of the way in that sense. And we had the 3 games at home, and the first game we're coming in, and obviously we have some friends from Rochester. I'm from Rochester, and so luckily I got to kind of play at home.
Right.
But some of the guys knew some other people, and they found out who the goalie was and found out his Instagram, and we found out that he has a girlfriend, and we went on our Visco, went on all our Instagram, and they printed out, we had 20 guys, whatever, on the team, but they printed out however many pictures of him and his girlfriend, and then instead of his face, they put each player.
Oh, that's so good.
And then we printed it all out in color. I don't know. It was some of the friends of one of our players, maybe a girlfriend or whatever, printed it all out. And then we taped it behind the net of the first period and third period.
No, you did.
Yeah. So but the best was we didn't know if he saw it, but then when he came out for warm-ups, he was skating to the net to like whatever. And
but he's just hawking it down.
He didn't want to act like he saw it, but you could tell he saw it. And we beat him. We swept him we beat him first 2 games, but that was just a little like you could tell he saw it, but he didn't want to admit it.
Right.
Yeah.
You got
You can't let that in. Like that's so tough.
Because the pictures weren't that big, so you had to really look at him to see if it was like who it was, and you could tell he looked.
Oh, he
looked
closely.
Yeah.
Oh, he looked closely. He knew that. That's why I could never be in any of these contact sports like that. Anything that gets really physical. Because me personally, if I saw something like that, I would be dropping the gloves immediately and fighting. I know my temper is. It's like that. My fuse is that.
It's kind of the way it is with lacrosse here. Like most of the time, it's like your only spectators are parents, girlfriends, and whatnot.
Yeah.
And so it's pretty obvious. It's pretty fast right away. You get to see who's here for who.
Oh yeah.
Right.
And so somebody does something. Someone on the sideline starts cheering, and there's your connection.
Oh yeah.
Oh God, we laid into one kid. One kid had probably. You had mom, dad, sister, girlfriend, grandparents, and we're just tearing into him.
Oh, no.
And, we're getting him on the sideline, flustering him. And anytime he drops the ball, we're looking at his parents, and we're like, you're coming to watch this kid? And so we're bringing the parents into it. And eventually we get to a point, I think it's, we're third quarter, and I laid him out in front of his grandma or something like that. But it's like, Buddy just needed to be more aware of where he was, and he turned around, and he opened himself right up to me. I laid his ass out, playing defense. It's my job, taking care of business.
If anything, you're really helping him for the future, because when he brings people in the future, then he won't be embarrassed next.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
I fucking lay him out. My buddy picks up the ball, takes it up court. We're good. We're fine. I'm looking at him, and I was like, brother, I'm sorry I had to do that in front of you. Like, I didn't mean it like that, but, like, just don't put yourself in that position. You got to know, like, if you got family here, you're staying away from the family.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, also, I'm intentionally trying to embarrass you. I want to do it right in front of them, too.
Oh yeah.
The very worst is when guys will bring girlfriends to intramural games.
Oh, dude, it's so
That
funny.
is probably the worst thing.
Yeah, that's not.
Especially, it's happened a couple times, and during regular season, we were just bodying teams left and right. It was mercy rule.
That's our number one saying is don't bring girls against Dome Crew.
Yeah.
Don't bring girls against Dome Crew.
Because we had head taps pretty much every game, and some of the girlfriends they're sitting with like their winter coats on, like, why the hell am I watching this? It's just a line you can't cross.
Yeah.
You guys bringing girlfriends to the game?
No.
No?
No.
You got a girlfriend?
No. Had one last year, but not this year.
I feel like it's got to be tough to hold something down. Like, if it was it like long distance with someone back home?
Yeah. Well, she was at college and I was technically at home.
Yeah.
But so it was like didn't really work out in that sense.
Right.
But
Yeah.
How's the adjustment moving from, home in New York or Vermont and then coming all the way to Lincoln, Nebraska? Because I know that it'd be a pretty big adjustment. I don't know if I could personally do it. I was barely.
How far are you technically away, like driving?
Yeah.
from our billet house to my actual house, I think it's 1625.
Oh,
I'm like 22.
22.
Or like 21, maybe.
21. Dang.
That is tough.
That is a long way. I mean, how did you guys like adjust at first? I'm sure it was difficult, or at least somewhat difficult at first.
Yeah, it's not with obviously like FaceTime and calling. It's not horrible, and then our billets do a great job of taking care of us. So
Right.
that's I think obviously having the biggest thing is who your billet is, and
Right.
having a good one, because then it makes you like you can go home. You don't have to worry about hockey. If you have a bad day at the rink, you don't have to worry about hockey. You can worry
Right.
about having family time, even though it's not your family, but.
Absolutely.
There's no mountains either.
There's no mountains?
No mountains
Like at
here.
home, there's a lot of mountains.
Are you guys skiers? Snowboarders?
I used to ski a lot.
Skier.
Skier.
I ski on the occasion. We got a small little range by my house in Minnesota.
I can't figure out the snowboarding. 2 feet on the same thing, though.
I couldn't figure out the snowboarding thing either. I was biting edges.
I
and
couldn't-
eventually I gave up because my face hurt.
Oh,
but
yeah.
like I was done with it.
I've
on that
heard
one.
people say that snowboarding's easier, and I think that is a complete lie.
It's some saying that's like snowboarding is easy or harder to learn, easy to master, and
Yeah.
skiing is hard to learn or easy to learn, hard
Yeah.
to master, something like that.
Yeah.
I mean,
Like that's like the common saying. I don't know.
I can vouch for it being difficult I guess skiing easy to learn. I can't even vouch for that because when I was going down a hill one time, I was trying to, pepperoni and
You mean
brake.
pizza.
Or
Pizza.
yeah.
Pepperoni pizza.
It's like, yeah,
something,
very close
yeah.
enough.
The pepperoni is the
Yeah.
topping. If you're gonna pepperoni, how do you even get your skis in that kind of a shape? I was trying to pizza, but my skis crossed and I tumbled and
yeah.
Yeah, you just going over it.
I'm rolling down the hill.
Once
like,
you fall, you're done.
yeah, like when Sonic is rolling down the hill when he
yeah.
goes up into that ball. That's like how I was
Did your
rolling.
skis fall off though?
They actually did not. And I wasn't wearing a helmet. It's honestly a miracle that I'm here right now and don't have like a traumatic brain injury because like there was a lot of fresh powder on the call it a mountain, but it's really just a big ass hill that's in a town close to me. I'm really lucky that there was fresh powder on that hill.
Yeah.
It would have been a rough kind of
Ride home.
rough ride home, ride to the hospital,
hospital.
An airlift to the hospital. It
Think how cool that would have been, though. You could have told people.
It's a good story.
I've been in a helicopter before. I was unconscious.
If you survive
while in
it, you're fine.
If
you survive it, you're fine.
It's fun to talk about after the fact, but when you're looking back in the past, oy vey, it is not fun. And within your guys' team, within the locker room, I'm sure there's always a fun dynamic. Some guys, are very, loud, energetic. They're ready to amp up. A lot of guys more quiet, reserved on game day. I'm sure you got a lot of characters in your locker room just with you guys naturally coming from different places. You've been Dash and Caden. They did have some. The compliment they had. They said you're a super glue guy.
Yeah.
The glue guy for the team.
The glue guy. A lot of energy that you provide. I mean, when you guys come on into the locker room, like when you step into the rink on game day, on practice, whatever it is that something that you mentally have to be like, you know what, I'm amped up right now, like I gotta physically turn it up, like think about it, or are you just naturally that way with anything that you approach?
I mean, you can ask Gio because he lives with me, but it's pretty
Is that so?
No, it's natural.
It's
natural.
Pretty much. It's away from I mean, it sometimes gets me in trouble, but away from the rink, I'm the same way.
Away from the rink, you're the same way.
Yeah.
And you can vouch, Gio?
Yeah, 100%.
He hates me half the time at home, but
What's the living? Do you know if Dash and Caden are in the same house?
close by, like probably 0.2 miles.
They're close
same
by.
neighborhood.
But you guys are in the
Do
same
most of
spot.
you guys live in like pretty close to the same areas, or you guys kind of all throughout Lincoln?
Well, we're 30 minutes away from.
We're
the furthest by far.
Oh, where do you guys live?
Really?
Like
Palmyra?
Oh, you live in Palmyra?
Yeah.
So it's pretty far, but
No disrespect, but I hate Palmyra. Me and my homies hate Palmyra.
Why? We got to hear why.
How are you gonna dog on the town? What's wrong
We
with
got to
Palmyra?
hear why.
What's wrong with it?
Just-
it's not even
me
a
and-
town.
Exactly.
Or
Me
is
and the
it a
homies
little,
just gotta hate Palmyra.
Township or whatever you might call
We
it.
nothing-
got to hear
no,
why.
there's
There's
nothing-
got to be a reason.
There's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with Palmyra in itself. There's just some people in Palmyra
Oh, there
that
we
the fellas
go.
got to take care
Yeah.
of.
there we go.
Some folks that we can't be.
There's some folks in the Palmyra area that we don't get along, if you call it that.
You don't jive with them really.
No.
if you want to say.
Are they farmers?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got nothing against farmers. I have nothing against farmers.
They feed us, man. Shout out the farmers. Thank you.
It is not. They're not technically farmers. Their parents are, but
Yeah.
we had
Got a little beef.
some business one night that we took care of.
Oh yeah. Again, that's maybe something we can't necessarily bring on the.
It was a business decision.
It was a business decision.
You can call me Michael Sandstruck. Is basically all that we're talking.
Yeah, well, we'll leave it at that because I'm sure we can't elaborate much on that. But what's it like living in the same house together? I mean, is it all? I mean, I gotta assume it's basically like having a brother. Do you guys ever get on each other's nerves with like roommate habits, or what's it really like just living in the same house?
You can ask him because I don't really. You can ask him.
I mean, I've had a roommate for the last 3 years now, so
Last 3
it's not
years.
new. So at
Yeah.
school, I had a roommate too.
I
So.
was just gonna say, at school, is
Obvious.
it more
Oh,
like
yeah.
traditional dorm room styling, or do you have
At-
your own space?
At my old school, it was dorm room, like bunk beds. So
Bunk
we were
beds.
pretty close. But obviously, if you're living with someone for that amount of time, it's like a brother. So you get in
get used
fights
to
and you get over them.
Right.
But it's great to live with someone. Always
So-
something to do.
He's totally lying to you because I've got yelled at many times at the bathroom's a mess. So,
I mean, he doesn't dry off before he leaves the shower.
Yeah.
Aw, Sandy.
You're just dripping it out of the shower.
It's kind of ridiculous.
I mean,
but
I
it's
like to
fun.
go look at myself in the mirror. So
Wow.
I use the towel after, like while I'm standing next to I got yelled at because whatever.
Leave it on wet spot on the floor. Kind of. What was it? Gio? Who yelled? Was it Gio going?
Yeah.
What the
I
hell?
mean, it's not yell. It's
Yeah.
just like an ask.
It's just a,
Simple request.
he started polite and then he's kind of got more serious. But I've been trying to clean up.
It's gotten better.
Right.
Yeah, it's got way better.
He's laying down the ball
Yeah,
a little
it's
bit.
fine.
My parents always hit me with that. You're not drying off. You're leaving the lights on.
Yeah.
You're using too many paper towels, kind of deal.
Yeah, I thought my mom was with me for a day. But
Thought mom was with Gio. How do you feel about being referred to as sort of a mom-like figure?
I mean, I keep him in check, so that's
Oh.
all that matters.
Someone's got to do
Get
it.
him out. Keep him
he-
out of trouble.
he tries to keep me out of trouble. I mean, I haven't gotten in any trouble here yet, but let's keep it that way.
Have any teammates and I'm not going to ask what incident may have happened to like prompt any sort of punishment that a coach may have dealing out. But has a player ever just like done something that was so ridiculous, whether it was on or off the ice, that it created like some sort of on ice, like you're gonna have to work, you're gonna have to skate a bunch of laps, or I don't know what exactly you guys do, but what's like the punishment that like any individual, group of individuals, or the whole team had to do for like a bad loss, bad beat? Because I know during cross country we had some. It's running, but like still, coach would beat the hell out of us sometimes.
I mean, we skate every Tuesday. Just
Every Tuesday,
conditioning.
just conditioning.
After practice, but like, I don't know. In training camp, there was a couple times where we had to skate because we were not focused or whatever. But it hasn't been like. There's no off-ice stuff. We're a pretty good group.
I was going to say the off-ice isn't really the issue for you guys.
No, I think we're a pretty good group. We have a pretty good group this year, so we're lucky to have that. But
For sure. Some teams can't say the same. One thing I want to bring up, we were just talking about how even maybe before you walked in, Omaha straight up boycotted one of their practices. The guys,
Really?
they lost some of their games and they just didn't show up to practice is what I'm hearing. Is that it? And how did you guys find out about this?
Well, earlier in the season, they were started 0-4, and they had a new coach that year, and they fired him after 4 games.
That's crazy.
And then since then, they've been all right, average, I'd say,
Yeah.
with their new coach. And then they just fired him, and all the players kind of – it was more like the owners in that sense I've been hearing.
Yeah.
And they kind of just didn't whatever. So they went out the night before, and then they just didn't go to the rink that morning.
That is out. I can't even imagine something like that happening. I mean, you got to have the owners, the coaches, the players, everyone's got to be on the same page and keep everyone
Kind of a
focused.
pair of balls to do that too.
Yeah.
Especially getting everyone on board.
Yeah.
Getting the whole team.
Because one kid shows up, it's kind of not only is it real awkward, but
Right.
Yeah.
You got to get everyone. There must be some good speakers on that Omaha team. Some very persuasive folks. To get
there has to be.
To just walk out like that. But nothing like that here. You guys are at the top of your game right now. Still at the top of the league like when we talked earlier on in the season. What is it that you've been doing in practices, trainings, or even off the ice, just recovery? What's really been the secret to the success so far this year? I know it's tough to boil down to any one thing, but what's kind of set you guys on the path that you're on right now?
yeah, I mean, I think our D-core is like very solid compared to most teams. We got a lot of I wouldn't say a lot, but like a decent amount of returners that are really good leaders, like Maltz, and he's a great captain, and Lassard. He's new but great leader, and he's older, so it's good to have those guys get the younger kids on board, kind of.
For sure.
But I think we just have scoring like up and down the lineup right now.
I was just going to say, Gio's being pretty humble over here talking about defense, always putting up 19 points right now.
There you go.
Yeah, I mean, everyone's putting the puck in the net, which is great. We kind of had a couple games not slump, but we weren't scoring on any chances really.
Sure.
But we kind of bounced back from that, which is always good. And I think from that point on, we've been putting the puck in the back of the net, which is great. And our goaltending's amazing. Probably the best 2 goalies in the league right now. So.
Jan is, anytime that dude steps in the net, I know it's going to be tough to score a goal on you guys. I think he had the lowest goals per game on average allowed at some point. He probably still does because he's lights out, man. He backs it up. And Harrington scoring like on defense, like you said, guys getting up and down, putting the puck in the back of the net.
And Prouse, he's done a really good job.
Yeah.
Especially his backstory coming from, he was a backup goalie in prep school last year.
Really?
The same league that I played in. He was the backup last year. And he's come in and done a great job. So
Absolutely.
It's awesome to see.
And maybe I'm getting confused. Are you the point leader on the team right now, Gio, with overall points, or is it?
No.
He's not overall. Gio leads in goals.
It's goals.
He leads in goals with 10 as of right now. But then points, which is points count for, it's just like lacrosse. So your assist is counted as a point.
Yeah.
For you. And so there's Jack Pecker.
Pekar.
We got Pekar. Pekar
He's
on
got
top.
23.
But Pecker works.
Pecker works. Hey, man, it kind of looks the same. And then Daniel Schlane, what a name.
Yeah, I remember he was scoring a lot of goals.
He's 21.
A lot of goals.
And then you got Gio at 19. And then, man, I don't know what's happened down here. If you want to talk about leading the team in something, Mike.
Yeah, I got penalty minutes.
I was just say you got penalty minutes. You're sitting down there, 48 penalty minutes.
I actually got
averaging 2.8 per game.
I got 50 this last weekend. So
just not updated yet.
yeah, it just hasn't updated.
Oh,
I mean, if
God.
you can lead in one thing, might as well lead in something, you know?
Yeah, right?
right.
I mean, be a team leader. Isn't that what they always say?
Exactly. Whatever.
What happened to prompt 50 in one weekend?
What?
50 penalty minutes. Did you say 15 or 50?
No, I'm at 50 for the year.
50, 5-0 for the year.
Okay.
5-0.
I thought you said 50 over the weekend. I was like,
No,
what the
no,
heck?
no.
You would have had to pull out a gun and
Yeah.
shoot someone on the ice to
Yeah,
generate 50 in one weekend.
yeah.
50 on the year. Okay.
So
I
is
get
it mostly like scruffs or is it?
Well, fights, if you get in an actual fight, it's 5 minutes for roughing, I think, or whatever, and then 10 for fighting,
Misconduct.
whatever. So you're in the
Oh.
box for 15, so 2 of those 30 minutes were from fighting.
30
so.
minutes. So what happened with that one fight where you were like, it wasn't really a fight?
Well, it was more the kid shot the puck in the net after the whistle.
Oh, dude.
So obviously I have to go over and let him know, and I let him know hard, and then his buddy came in behind me, and I was kind of in a bad position, but we didn't have time to get the refs were already in there by the time we get our gloves off.
Yeah.
So it was more like we're just punching each other in the head for fun.
For
So
fun.
it was like not really like.
You weren't taking care of business. I'm with you on that one, though.
So then
that
it was only because it was not a real fight. It was only 2 minutes, but I also got the 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So it was like 12 instead of 15, but it's
you
like.
still got your 10-minute penalty.
So it wasn't. I talked to the ref after. I'm like, why didn't you let us go? He goes, next time, just let me know. I'm like, I was just trying to let him know. I was just trying to let the other guy know. And he goes, all right, just tell me before. I'm like, what am I supposed to stop mid-fight, let you know, and then get going?
You give a couple right hooks, get the guy a little dizzy, look over
Yeah.
at the ref, and just letting him know,
Yeah,
buddy.
yeah.
Then just go right back into it.
Or like, you want me to punch you next time? Like, I don't know what he was trying to tell me, but
that those things are heat of the moment. You don't take a moment
Yeah,
to,
right.
to
like,
clue other
call
folks.
timeout, quick, ref, let us go, and then we'll be back. Like, it was.
That ain't how it works. It's got to be on site like that.
I respect the fight for that one.
And
Got to stand up for the tendy.
And the earlier brawl that you were in with Waterloo, that whole game was chaos because there was that fight. Glass broke was the first time.
Oh, God.
Glass broke with a hit that I think it was Henrik's laid out. That was a nasty one. It broke towards one end, and we had to pause for like 20 minutes replacing the glass pane. That was rough, and that game took forever that night. And this could be, I mean, Stars related or even junior hockey league, whatever level you've played in. Have there like what's your craziest game that you've ever participated in? Because I'm sure you got some interesting stuff, some interesting games over the years.
I mean, back in my like squirt days, there were some interesting games.
Back in the squirt days.
Actually, my sophomore year, there was a brawl, I think.
Whole team brawl, bench cleared.
No, not whole team, but like at like 12 guys, I think. We're in.
Really?
I don't know. Some kid.
Damn, you guys were getting after it.
Oh, you'll like this story then. It was we played Bishop Kearney. We played in a league called the Northeast Pack, and the home team. There was that year. There's probably 5 teams, and each weekend, each team gets a host, so everyone comes to that team, and we're down in New Jersey for the New Jersey Rockets. And so they get to make our schedule, and we hate each other, our programs, our coaches. They absolutely hate each other. And, of course, they give us the schedule. Like, we played, I want to say 9 p.m. at night. It might have been 8 p.m., but if there's games after each other, because it's back when it wasn't one game a day, they obviously delayed it. So the game ends at 11 p.m. We'll get back to midnight-ish. But then they make our next game at 8 a.m. the next day on Sunday. And our coach, love him, he actually helped me get to BK, but he just hates the other coach. And 8 a.m., we're playing. We have maybe 6 hours sleep max. And we're playing. And then at the end of the game, one of our guy at the last face-off, he trips someone. And then we start going at it a little. And then they go celebrate with their goalie because they beat us, but whatever. But then they started getting a little bit of scrum, and our coach goes, you guys can go. And we jump over the boards, and every single one of our guys fought every single one of their guys.
No.
And it was back in when we only had 2 refs on the ice.
I was going to say, you've only got...
So we have 20 fights and 2 refs, so they can't do anything.
They're just letting the boys play.
Oh, yeah, and that was when we wore cages. So one of our guys, we took one of their helmets off and we threw it over it was one of the little rinks where there's only stands on one side. So we threw it over the bench on the far side. And after the game, they're coming in like, you guys have our helmets, all this stuff. We took a helmet into our locker room and just broke it into shreds. And
it's only fair.
And then, of course, they didn't know what to do. So not even our coach got suspended. None of our players. So we're all just like,
Wow.
well, we should have gone harder.
You just got to keep fighting
Like,
at that point.
Yeah,
in
we were
time.
nervous we were gonna get whatever, but nothing happened.
My freshman year, so 4 years ago, we're actually going back up to Minnesota this year. Minnesota, we fucking hate Minnesota. Might want to bleep that one out. It's
Damn.
the Gophers. Oh my god, we hate them here.
Just some fellas you don't like.
Just some fellas we don't like. And my freshman year, lacrosse isn't necessarily. Usually, it's just pushing and fight, like pushing and shoving. That's the extent of fights and whatnot. And we had a kid, whatever. His name was Braden. Not that he's gonna hear this, but he's like 6'3", 300. He was our
Good
attack. He was our
Lord.
attackman. I mean, he was just a big-bodied like bulldodge right down the lane and just put it away type of player.
Just a big fella.
Kind of like Payne Cormier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he drives down. I mean, we're losing. It's not even close.
Oh,
It's like 17-5 or something like that. Fourth quarter, we're not making a comeback. He's scoring to score at this point in time. He puts it away, whatever, and then of course he celebrates. The kid guarding him's like 5'10", maybe 180. So complete mismatch.
Right.
He hits the kid with the "you're too small." And then, literally pats the other kid on the head and was like, "You'll get him next time." And the kid, slaps his hand away and then just, jabs at him, punches him right in the crossbar. You're wearing a helmet, doesn't really do anything to
yeah.
you. Braden just grabs the kid's helmet, grabs him by the face mask, and just pulls him to the ground.
yeah.
This is my favorite part about the whole entire thing. He just belly flops on him.
Yeah.
Just opens up, falls forward, and just body slams him.
Did his helmet fall off when he pulled him?
No, because he just grabbed him
Yeah.
and just pulled
That
him
was
pretty
the-
much
yeah.
straight down.
That was the worst part about lacrosse helmets. though,
Yeah.
is they don't come off. So if someone
Yeah.
grabs you, you're going with it.
You're going
Yeah.
exactly, and so he's down on the ground. Braden just falls on top of him, and
Just
then
a belly
obviously this
flop.
just erupts a brawl because now everybody else is getting in there,
yeah.
and so freshman me is like, what is happening? I've never seen this before. And then benches are clearing, and it's like all of a sudden Minnesota guys are running at us on the bench, and I
Yeah.
was like, holy shit, what am I doing here? So I
One
don't
more three has begun.
I was like, I don't know what's happening. And then at that point in time, we had 3 refs only. And so they're like worried about what's happening on the field. And the Minnesota guys are just like in our faces. And I'm like, dude, I don't want to fight.
Yeah.
It's like, I have like 4 minutes in this whole entire game. Like, I'm good, bro.
Right, like
I haven't done
I can
anything.
sit this one out.
Well, looking back on it, would you have treated that situation differently?
As a senior, what would you?
As a senior,
Yeah, what would we do now?
first one off the bench.
Yeah,
First one off
there
the
you
bench. I mean, if I'm all the way on left bench down there, oh Lord knows the moment I see Braden open up and just body slam him,
go. Yeah.
I know it's starting. I'm on the field. Moment the whistle's blown and I know that I no longer am listening to anything that ref says, I'm clearing them.
Oh, as a freshman, I mean, I'm sure you're a little more hesitant to get involved in something like that. But seniors, I'm gonna be gone here soon, anyways.
Exactly.
Whatever.
Well, it was like Sandruck, where it's like, oh, dude, coaches. It's like if I do something, coach is gonna make me run, and I'm gonna run until I puke my guts out. And now it's like, what is coach really?
Coach ain't never gonna see me again.
Coach
after this
really
year.
gonna do something to me? He needs me now.
Yeah, right.
He needs my ass.
There you go. And Gio, you were talking about a brawl, and maybe it wasn't anything like this, but it was just a guy, like all the guys on the ice just throwing it down.
Yeah, it
did,
was
did anything specific happen to prompt it?
I don't know, not really. But one kid went by our student section without a helmet on, and went like this. He got suspended. Shout out Braden Pullman. But yeah, it was pretty funny. But I don't know. It wasn't that crazy.
Wasn't that crazy? Yeah, it'll happen.
We couldn't really hop off the bench for that one. It wasn't that deep.
Sometimes I feel that I just did the wrong sports when I was young because cross country is just so tame.
Yeah, you imagine.
Yeah, have you got a fight there? Or?
People just have every time after the race, guys from opposing teams are just dapping each other up because we're all just happy to be done with the misery that we just put ourselves through. One time, a kid did shove another guy into a bush.
I'm saying full contact cross country could be the new sport.
Oh, that would be great. Sometimes
you imagine you just chase down, tackle a kid.
guys can get spiked. It never happened to me, but when you're running the races, you have metal spikes, and I've seen pictures of it. Some guys, you'll get stomped on in the back of the calves. Usually it's not intentional, but I've seen the aftermath, and guys' calves are just covered in blood.
Is that like a penalty?
It's not a penalty because usually it's accidental.
yeah.
Usually it's accidental. But
How about getting pushed into a bush? What happens? There?
That was actually Daniel taking care of business.
Yeah, was that you and you're covering it up?
There have been kids that definitely deserve to get shoved in a bush because I've seen people who like gain any advantage they want. Like they'll run just like there's painted lines marking where you can run, and some guys will go just inside the boundary to where they're cutting off just a little bit of time. It's like, dude, what the hell are you doing? Like, and normally they're not that bad, but what prompted that I really don't even recall. I think some guy was just throwing elbows. I think it was
that'd be my thing. Is if I'm running that close to someone, I'm tossing elbows.
Oh yeah. When it's like tight, especially at the beginning of the race when that huge pack is just separating out.
No one can see you either.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, guys, sometimes, especially in if it's a big race and guys are like laying it on the line, guys will throw some elbows, try and get an advantage. I think this guy was just elbowing Aiden. Shout out to Aiden, wherever he's at. He was just elbowing Aiden too much, and Aiden just said, you know what, fuck this, and just bam, shoved him into a bush. And the dude, like, it wasn't just like a little shove, like he full out sprawled onto the ground, fell down, and that was it. Aiden didn't get in any trouble, which is a miracle, because if our coach found out about that, he would have whooped his ass.
I got to ask, though, when you say these big starts, how do they pick who's at, like, the actual front?
It's really just based on speed.
Like, do you have to get there earlier, or, like, how does that, like, who gets the front?
Like, within a team, it's literally just, like, it's whoever's fastest.
Yeah.
Like, the fast guys will go to the top, and the slower guys will kind of go to the back and fill it out. But there have been times where in the race, like, guys are coming up to the start line last minute and just kind of standing on the line wherever. And I'm, like, kind of towards the front. I was, like, the sixth guy on the team. So I was, like, out of 7 on varsity. I was usually the 5th or the 6th guy, one of the slower guys on the team. And this couple particular races, I would just be up front looking at Joe, our fastest guy who ran for the Naval Academy. He's a really good runner, D1, very talented. I look and I see him right there, and I'm standing at the front, and I'm like, I should not be here at the very. I'm, like, trying to keep up with Joe, but then I'm like, I got to run my race, damn it. So, but other than that, like, in terms of where the teams are laid out, sometimes it's just random. Sometimes you can get a bad, like, starting position, like, right towards the end of the line. Sometimes you're right in the middle, which is kind of good. But cross country, man, those times are fun. I miss the team.
I think I'd be intentionally tripping.
You'd be intentionally tripping.
I'm sticking out feet.
Oh, yeah.
Arms.
Especially in, like, the corner where no one sees you.
I'm setting a booby trap. Yeah. Who knows?
Soccer, when I played as a youth, got a little, like, not, like, I was playing when I was like 12, 13, 14 years old. So it never got...
We played real different sports over here, Daniel.
We really did. Like track and cross country and soccer versus like lacrosse and hockey. It doesn't get like much.
Full contact. Soccer's full contact.
Full contact. It's
soccer gets physical.
Soccer can, except for one time when this guy, he had hair like everyone on our team called him Goldilocks because this guy, he had long blonde hair down to his shoulders. I came up, took the ball from him, made no contact with him, sprawls out onto the ground, and they call a penalty on me.
Yeah.
And I was kind of reflecting on it, I was a dick to some of the refs when I was in youth soccer because I would always be like, ref, what the hell, ref?
Yeah. No, I think you got it, though.
What is going on there? Like, the guy's not getting paid enough to deal with my BS, but, like, I got to air my grievances out there.
No, obviously you know better than the refs because you were right there and the ref was over there. Yeah. I mean, that's how that works, right?
Some of those refs had their C&I dog decipher the game and call the fouls. Just a rough deal.
Well, they're probably hung over at 12.
Yeah, playing 12U. You're doing 12U soccer.
They're just getting their paycheck.
You're probably 20, if that, absolutely hung on a Saturday morning.
Oh, yeah.
You're just ready to go drink some brews with the fellas.
I'm sure that water jug is maybe a vodka Red Bull or something like that.
Sunday football on, and this is what you're doing. Like,
it's not, especially when you got some of those weekend tournaments, the 8 a.m. games. I know they were little bit of a hangover kind of going.
So obviously, with you guys traveling a lot, do you guys, besides like obviously icebox, home court, home rink, excuse me, you get that
home ice,
baby,
home ice. You guys kind of come to be like probably one of your more favorite places to play, but do you guys have other places, like a favorite arena that you've played in throughout the years? Maybe like a one-off, like a tournament style or something like that, where like I see Gio's over here rocking the 2022 National USA Hockey Championship pants.
There we go.
Like, that's got to be done in a pretty cool arena.
Yeah, it was all right. It was Rochester, Michigan, like a public rink. It wasn't great, but
all right, well.
I personally like playing on the road more. So
really,
yeah, schedule's like the same every time, and you get to do your thing. Like, you go to the hotel, eat a pregame meal at the same time, and then go to the rink. So I feel like I play better on the road. But.
Are you guys superstitious? Just the little sisters?
No.
No?
Yeah, a little bit.
Just a little?
My only thing is not to take it too seriously.
You tape your stick the same way every single time?
No.
That's crazy.
Well, it's like if I score, maybe. If I don't, or like I look on Instagram and see someone else do something, like whatever. Like, is that really gonna change what
You're
I
right.
play?
Yeah, you're right.
You see, that's the attitude I like when guys approach it with. I remember when Dalvin Cook switched to number 4 when he came to the Vikings. Totally different sport, but he said, "I'm switching to the number 4. It's going to make me play better." That's my.
Well, his
right?
brother's pretty good, so
His brother's a damn good back.
go Bills.
Ooh,
Big Bills guy.
Oh yeah.
My dad was born in Detroit,
Oh,
so we've been going through.
So
You know what? Here's I'll
the
tell you.
Vikings or the Lions?
It's a Lions for me.
It's the line for him. Here's the crazy thing: is I remember freshman year watching Daniel walk around in his Lion. He's just, it's a sick jacket. It's like one of those like kind of like retro styled like puffer jackets.
It's like a letter jacket.
It's like yeah, but it's like
But
you know
it's
it's
with
all
the
it's all
Lions.
Lions. And I remember like we would clown the shit out of him.
Oh, yeah.
Because what that year the Lions went.
Terrible.
Probably 0-16.
So I think it was the year after where you guys went like
1-15.
Yeah, 1-15, like we did better.
Maybe we snuck in 3 or 4 wins.
Yeah.
But yeah, just miserable
and
football.
the boys are just making fun of him. It's whatever. And then now it's hilarious.
We're on the way to glory.
You guys are on the way to the bowl.
But we're Detroit, so we'll find some way to screw it up. That's what people don't understand.
You'll
Everyone's like,
find some way. Look at Buffalo.
yeah. Ugh.
Every year's our year until the playoffs happen.
A Lions-Bills Super Bowl would feed generation.
That's what everyone wants.
That's what everyone wants. If the Chiefs are in it again,
There's generational wealth happening there.
if the Chiefs make it to the Super Bowl again, I'm gonna pull an Omaha Lancers and I'm gonna boycott the NFL. It's just like
they're
not
gonna
happening.
win it again.
They're
so,
gonna.
I mean,
Don't say.
well, if Patrick Mahomes
Sandy,
gets in
you
the
can't say
if
that.
he gets in the playoffs, they're not gonna lose.
I know.
And they already clinched playoffs, so
Have they?
Yeah.
them and the Bills.
I knew it was only a matter of time, but golly. You got a particular football allegiance? I mean, Vermont is kind of neutral.
I say you're kind of in a no man's
I mean,
land over there.
yeah, my uncle's from San Diego, so he's
So this is insane. Are you gonna pull out the Chargers?
I am. Yeah.
That's insane.
I'm just glad he's not a Patriots fan.
I
That's
hate
fair.
every New England
I was
team.
thinking it's either gonna be there's
answer.
Patriots,
No,
maybe a Jets,
I
maybe
can't
a,
stand New England teams. So he used to like send me like I'd like Chargers pajamas when I was growing up. So then I just started liking them. I don't know. It's so
it's
random.
the way that it was.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, it's Skull Vikes over here.
It's Skull Vikes for
It's Skull
and,
Vikes
and all
over
the
here.
roommates at Skull.
Skull Vikes over here.
I've been to. Have you ever been to a game? Like
No,
a US
Daniel, your dad won't give us tickets.
Dude, my look, just because my dad yaps on the radio, I wish he had that kind of clout where he could just snatch up.
Brother,
some
I have
tickets to a
seen
game
you
like that.
on the sideline.
Cause I'm his kid.
Oh yeah,
You're
We're playing favorites over
fake
here.
friend. Yeah,
wow. Oh, you're gonna.
we're gonna start something on the podcast.
We're talking about fights on the ring.
Hey,
we're
we're
about to
gonna go take care of this outside.
We're about to brawl in Studio
Yeah.
313. There's about to be a whole like a director's cut of this episode where we're just beating the shit out of each other in the parking lot.
Might take an intermission here.
Yeah,
and get back onto it.
It might take a little intermission.
We only have 3 guys when we come back.
Yeah, right. One of us is gonna be out in the dumpster somewhere, just out on the sidewalk, laying down. Help me! It's gonna be a rough one. I wish I could get those tickets, Dylan. Someday you will come to US Bank Stadium with me, and we'll go to a game together because it's a great venue.
Keep making promises like that.
I'm not gonna. I never promise you tickets to a game.
That's actually fair. He's never promised.
I
tickets.
said, look, a guy will reach out and see what he can do, but unfortunately, I have no.
The guy has done nothing.
The nepotism doesn't work so effectively. To
Studio
the point where I'm
313 hasn't kicked off that hard.
No, we haven't kicked off that hard yet. We're certainly not Joe Rogan or whatever podcast you want to get that has like millions of listeners or viewers or whatever.
We can get there though.
Yeah, we'll get there.
We can get there. It's going to start with episodes like this because we're going to work our way up.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to interview all the biggest.
We're gonna bring on all of the transfer portal athletes
We're
in
gonna-
the same episode. We're just gonna go through. You get a 5-minute segment to talk about why you're the best athlete.
What is wrong with you? What's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? Traitor.
Exactly.
That would be one hell of an episode. We did have Emmett on, and now he's big time now.
Emmett is big time. I love watching Emmett. There's the old 2-1 out there.
Yeah, he's a great back. He is a phenomenal back. I'm trying to think of other things because we can edit around all this. I'm not going to.
Did you guys have a welcome to the league moment? I know, obviously, you being a fighter.
Yeah.
Actually, my welcome to the league moment was every year the USHL has a showcase in the Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Sure.
And our first game, he Rocky puts out me, John Hirschfield, and I think Cade Kohansky as a starting lineup, and we've never, all three of us haven't played in the USHL yet, and our whole we spent a minute and almost 2 minutes on the ice, and we couldn't get the puck out. We iced it twice, and if you ice the puck in hockey, you can't change.
Sure.
So we're still on the ice, and we're just hoping we don't get scored on our first shift.
Right.
And then we get back to the bench, or after the game, like, Rocky, that had to be one of the worst shifts you've ever seen.
Really?
To start your USHL career. And he goes, it's definitely up there as long as you don't get scored on. I'm like, yeah, well, they didn't get scored on, so.
Yeah. It'll happen.
After that, it's just like, yeah.
Yeah. Got to learn sometime.
Yeah.
You got to learn sometime.
I might as well make it the first shift.
What about you, Gio? You got anything that really just said, wow, I'm in the big leagues now. I'm playing against competition that is right at my level.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely just the pace, like that first game.
Right.
Just up and down. It's a lot faster compared to prep school. But no, it just took a little getting used to, and about like 10 games, and then kind of just flowed from there, which is good. But not too big of a thing happened where I'm like,
Have either of you gotten laid out?
Yeah.
Plenty? Lot?
This year?
Or just a couple nasty hits?
Like,
Anything
not like
particular
massive
about it?
hits, but like
Right.
gotten sat down a couple times. There's some big kids.
Yeah, I got sat down last year.
You got sat down last year?
Yeah, no, I got sat down last year. I just wasn't. I got the old hospital pass, turned the head,
Oh, yeah.
turned right back, and the kid was there. I mean, he was an Illinois kid. He was short and stocky, just that low center of gravity, and there just wasn't. I tried to get around him, and he just planted and just laid my ass out. Oh, it hurt so bad.
I got laid out in flag football. You remember that?
Yeah.
I was catching a
Flag
little
football.
flag football. I got laid out.
Wow.
I was trying to catch a screen pass, and I jumped up and got it. And this dude who was trying to make a play on the ball just comes up and decks me. And
pretty much just undercut Daniel.
he pretty much just
Wow.
undercut me. And there was there even a flag thrown on the play? Yeah, there wasn't even a flag thrown on the
flag.
play. I mean,
Which was crazy because then Andrew got his flag for his conduct.
It's another story for another time, but it'll happen. The Vine Street Fields, man, they're a vicious place.
Wow.
But closing it out, what's kind of one thing you guys are looking to like improve on in your game? Because hockey is, I don't understand the game as well as I wish I did, and I know there's a lot of components to it that I really don't see. What's one part of your game that you guys are looking to improve on as the year goes on? One part that you think could really use, get it up a little bit.
Yeah. I think you can kind of get better at everything in your game in that sense. But I think one of the best things is Rocky's always kind of told us, like, live in the moment, because it feels like just yesterday we moved in, and
Right.
that was 3 months ago, and now not this weekend, but next weekend we're going home for Christmas.
Right.
So it kind of flies by, and it's more like, not just hockey, but life, just like
Of course.
live every day that 5 months you're never going to play, like, every team, no matter what in junior hockey, the team's not going to be the same the next year.
Right.
So it's more like 5 months from now I'm not going to practice with the same group, so like make sure to take every moment not for granted, and make sure you take those memories, and it's more, and then you can take that out of hockey, and like in terms of your family, when I go home for 10 days, but make sure to take those 10 days because it's going to fly by.
Absolutely.
So I think that's the biggest thing.
For sure.
And then you can obviously get better on everything in hockey. But
Yeah.
that's kind of,
I like living in the moment.
Yeah.
Be where your feet are.
yeah, that's what Rocky kind of, from our first meeting, that's kind of what he's been saying.
What about yourself, Gio?
I agree with that. Also, for my game specifically, probably just consistency day in, day out. Working hard. I'm lucky enough, my dad's a coach, and my mom played college hockey, so
Where's
Oh,
the
really?
coach at?
he's small D3 school in Vermont.
Okay.
Like in my town, pretty much. And then my mom played at UNH, so I'm lucky to grow up in that family, and
Right.
they're always there for me if I have.
You're basically McCade McMillan.
No, no. But no, I can always go to them if I have questions about my game. My dad does a pretty good job at separating the coaching from parenting, which I appreciate because sometimes that can get in the way of kids. But if I ever have questions or feedback, if I need feedback, I can go to him, which is pretty lucky to have.
Yeah. You don't want the dad and coach to blend into.
Bro's getting,
Yeah, no,
Bro's
he-
getting the Zoom coaching sessions.
He's probably, every time he's coached me, I've told him he's the worst coach I've ever had. So,
That's fair.
but no,
my dad got
he
the same
agrees.
thing when we were doing baseball as kids. We'd be sitting there. Oh my, tear into his
Oh
ass.
yeah.
One time, my dad looked at me when I was playing goalie. I was 9 years old. It was one of my first traveling soccer games. I'm in Blaine. This happened in Blaine in Rombach's backyard.
Okay.
And I'm playing goalie, and I let a shot by that was just bad. Like, it was just terrible. Like, I don't know what I was doing, but it was so easily savable. I would have got it 99 times out of 100 because I was very polished back then. I was detail oriented at 9 years old. I didn't miss much. But then I let this goal by. My dad looks at me from the sideline and he goes, like, he does the old hands up, like, what the hell was that? And I looked at him. He says he'll never forget it. I looked at him and I yelled, "You're insane. You're insane." I was so pissed off at him. And I was 9 years old when that happened. And he said that everyone started kind of looking a little bit. I kind of caused a scene on the National Sports Center fields. At least that's what they were called at the time.
How was the car ride home?
Oh,
Silent?
Silent?
Oh, it was silent. Dad's like, tough game, man. Tough game. And I just sit in the back and I'm not saying anything.
Yeah.
The second place, when we got second place in a Des Moines soccer tournament and drove back to Minnesota, that was mighty quiet.
That is so tough.
We lost 2-1 in the championship game after getting a 1-goal lead, and that was probably the longest ride home.
Yeah, we lost state for lacrosse, and that was a silent car ride home.
Yeah.
You're driving home, and it's just kind of like no one wants to say anything, and you're just kind of like,
It gets mighty quiet.
oh, fuck this sport.
Yeah.
I hate this thing.
Well, Dylan, if you don't got anything else, I mean, we've been chatting for a while. I'm satisfied with the lovely little conversation we've had here.
You guys have anything?
Any
you wanna
parting
talk
any
about?
parting words for the people? What do you got to say?
Come out to a game sometime.
$2 tall boys.
That's
Yeah,
what I'm
next
saying. I'm there for
Thursday.
$2
Be there.
doubles.
Or teddy bear toss. Either one.
Or teddy bear toss. You got
What's-
tall boys, teddy bear
What night
toss.
do you guys have like a special night that you guys like the most?
We'll be in first.
How do you feel about college night? Let me ask you that one. Drunk college kids.
Well, we kind of had one, but we haven't really
Okay.
yet this year. And I think talking to the returners and talking to before we got on, I think that next Thursday could be one of our better games.
Oh, it's going to be full. $2 night. I remember Tri-City last year. Like, usually Icebox packs in like 1,500, 2,000 for a game.
Yeah.
College night last year, Tri-City was like 4,000 people
Yeah.
in there. It was rocking. It was loud. It was rowdy in there. College night will be fun.
I heard Omaha, they sell out for that one.
And
So
Omaha.
I'm excited for that.
College nights and Omaha is when you can count on the Icebox being rocking.
Yeah.
The Omaha games are, it's a good time. We got probably 3 more home games against Omaha this year at some point.
I don't think we've played them at home.
Yeah. Like we play Omaha a lot
Yeah.
just because it's so close to each other. But Omaha and college night, there'll
Well,
be
then
plenty of
playoff hockey when we get there too.
Playoff
so.
hockey is always great hockey.
Absolutely. Playoff hockey soon to come, hopefully. It looks like, just about everyone in the league makes the playoffs, and the boys are at the top, so you better believe they're going to.
Yeah. Well, hopefully we get the first round bye.
Yeah, that's what you're looking for.
Yeah. You never.
And the steps on the way to the postseason, it's late in the regular season. The boys are at the Shields Arena in Fargo this upcoming weekend. Then Thursday and Friday back-to-back against Sioux City and Tri-City. Maybe not in that order, but those are the teams they're playing, with that Thursday night being the Tall Boys. Oh, boy, that'll be one hell of a night. Your Lincoln Stars taking on some of the more okay teams in the Western Conference. Some of the more okay teams in the Western Conference. But Michael, Gio, thank you guys very much for taking the time. We appreciate having you guys on. Hope to have more you Stars on as the season goes on, because I'm sure that
Put us in a booth.
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 I tell you what, I'll know roughly somewhat what I'm talking about, but it'll be some of the most exciting announcing you've ever seen. Just don't air it, because it probably won't be PG.
I don't think Craig is willing to give up his
Let
spot.
me talk to Craig. All right, let me pull some strings.
Craig loves his job as a PA announcer, so you'd have to do some pretty delicate string pulling, but we'll see. We'll see.
You could be sick one game. You never know.
You could Joel does the play-by-play and like analysis all himself. You could join Joel up in the
Yeah,
booth.
you could be the color guy.
Yeah,
I'm sure
here we
on
go.
there.
I'm sure he'd love you.
But
and
then we won't hear him during the game though.
well, there's that.
Don't worry, I'll get a megaphone.
Well,
I'll just be yelling it from the top.
you'll have to show. Will you be there Thursday?
Roll deep. Let's go.
Well, hey, he
Lock it in.
says
Let's go.
he's going to be here, but no promises. Just like I can't promise those Vikings tickets. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. But Gio, Michael, thank you guys for coming
you.
on.
Yeah, thank you.
you guys. Appreciate you guys taking the time. We'll get more Stars on in the future, I'm sure. Dylan, thank you for joining me. It's been a
Always.
lovely episode. Now we got to get back to studying. Oh boy, a lot of fun. Lot of
Finals
sport.
incoming.
Yeah, finals is coming up.
Yeah.
So time to get back to that. Time to study. I mean, I'm a student podcaster. I wish I was a podcaster student, but you know, I gotta have my priorities straight. Thank you all for joining us. This is Deuce. This is Studio 313. Everyone, take care.
It was true, bless me, it was three sometimes. Shouts out to Nate, I jack ball and I bop, I flex. Got neck from all of these thoughts, I sex. Rastafari, I shot us, yes. I safari, me casa, yes. Poppy feel to that Papa. She came to party, she popped the molly, said come to Papa. She said Papa, yes.
I got that,